Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're immersing ourselves in a truly incredible story, so let's jump right in. I want you to picture a small, incredibly fragile bamboo hut sitting right on the edge of a vast rural village. In the summer, it burns, in the winter, it shivers, and when it rains, well, it leaks everywhere. But every single evening, without fail, the most beautiful sound drifts right through those thin walls, the sound of pure, unbridled laughter. This is the home of a hardworking mother named Maya and our young, fiercely optimistic son, Chotu. And despite having absolutely nothing in a material sense, their home is bursting with a warmth that money just cannot buy.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this central question right here is the beating heart of our entire narrative. I mean, what actually happens when unimaginable, deeply rooted internal joy collides head-on with corrupt, overwhelming external power? It is the ultimate underdog story, but it's fought with weapons you might not really expect: a smile, an unbreakable spirit, and a few hollow sticks of bamboo. Let's see how this incredible clash actually unfolds.
Section 1, The Laughing Bamboo Hut.
To really wrap our heads around the magnitude of this story, we first have to understand the stark, honestly almost unbelievable contrast between the two main forces in this village. On one side, we have Maya and Chotu. They live in grinding, everyday material poverty. Chotu runs barefoot through the fields, their clothes are torn, and their roof barely even holds up. Yet they possess this immense emotional wealth. Their days end in genuine, real laughter. Now, on the exact opposite side of the spectrum, we have the village landlord, Bhupan Singh. He lives in a massive mansion, surrounded by servants and just overflowing plates of food. But his home, it's completely silent. It is literally a fortress of loneliness and emotional emptiness. And here is the psychological kicker. Bhupan Singh is absolutely bewildered and infuriated by Maya and Chotu's happiness. He just cannot fathom how people with absolutely nothing can possess the one thing his immense wealth cannot buy.
This right here beautifully captures Chotu's mindset. When the other village kids mock him for his ragged, torn clothes, this is his actual response. He says, "Even the wind needs toys. I give it my clothes to play with." He doesn't get angry. He doesn't feel ashamed. He reframes his poverty into this profound, almost poetic optimism. He has built an internal fortress of wealth that completely shields him from the external poverty he lives in. And it's this exact mindset that the landlord finds so incredibly threatening.
Section 2, Battling the Fierce Storm. Well, that threat to the landlord's ego is about to be tested, because in our story, nature and the oppressor are about to strike at the exact same time. A massive storm rips through the village, winds are howling, rain is absolutely pouring, and that fragile bamboo hut is swaying violently. The landlord actually rides out into the middle of the storm just to mock Maya, telling her to finally give up and submit to his servitude. The hut begins to crack. But Chotu, he doesn't panic. Instead, he executes this brilliant, on-the-fly engineering. Step 1, he grabs a bronze pot. Step 2, he mixes rainwater with the earth outside. And Step 3, he realizes that packing this thick, wet mud right into the hollow joints of the cracking bamboo acts almost like quick-drying cement. It's an incredibly tense moment, a child using literally nothing but dirt and water to hold his entire world together. As the winds rage, Chotu shouts this over the storm to his terrified mother. "Mother, our bamboo might break, but our courage will not." It's a massive turning point. And it's exactly in this moment of raw resilience that something kind of miraculous happens. Ramu, a young man who the entire village normally treats as an outcast and a fool, breaks from the terrified crowd. He runs right through the storm and physically throws his own shoulder against the collapsing bamboo wall, holding it up right alongside Chotu. The oppressor just watches in total disbelief as the outcast and the child hold the line together. And this brilliantly illustrates how the landlord reacts when he's defied. He doesn't walk away, he escalates. Over the next few days, his cruelty shifts into high gear. To break Maya's spirit, he uses his authority to force her into grueling, skin-tearing manual labor, ordering her to carry massive stones across the village under the guise of public works. But Maya and Chotu, now joined by Ramu, shoulder the stones together, refusing to lose their smiles. The landlord realizes pretty quickly that physical exhaustion just isn't going to be enough. He needs a completely different strategy.
Section 3, The Canal Sabotage Conspiracy.
So the landlord realizes he can't break them from the inside, right? So he decides to turn the entire village against them from the outside. It's a textbook manipulation tactic. Under the cover of darkness, Bhupan Singh's thugs dig out the banks of the village canal. The water rushes in and completely destroys the crops of the poorest farmers. The very next morning, the landlord arrives, faking this massive outrage, and points the finger squarely at Maya, claiming her poor stone-carrying work caused the breach. He manufactures a crisis specifically designed to whip the desperate, grieving farmers into an angry mob, completely isolating our underdogs. Talk about a terrifying cliffhanger. You have an angry mob armed with sticks, walking straight toward the bamboo hut, ready to exact revenge on a mother and child for a crime they absolutely didn't commit. But just as violence is about to break out, the village headman steps in and calls for a formal panchayat, a village council. The fate of Maya and Chotu now rests entirely on a public trial.
Section 4. Truth triumphs in the panchayat.
The entire village is gathered at the central square, and man, the tension is just palpable. The truth is going on trial. The landlord is super confident. He presents his fake evidence, these small fabricated footprints in the mud, claiming Chotu was playing by the canal and broke it. The village is actually sweet, but then Chotu stands up. Anticipating the landlord's treachery, Chotu and Ramu had executed a brave midnight scouting mission the night before. Chotu places his real evidence right on the council floor, a solid clump of mud from the sabotage site. And baked right into that mud are the heavy, unmistakable tracks of large, thick boots, the exact kind worn by the landlord's men. It immediately, completely dismantles the landlord's entire web of lies.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how Chotu's bravery acts like a spark in a room full of gas. This evidence causes a massive chain reaction. Suddenly, the most marginalized, terrified people in the village actually find their voices. Harya, the old blacksmith, steps forward to testify he saw the landlord's lanterns at the canal. Soni, a widow who has spent her entire life looking at the ground, finally looks up and confirms the landlord's men were the ones digging. And Ramu fiercely defends Maya's character. The wall of fear in the village completely shatters, and the council rules in Maya's favor.
Section 5. A new beginning from the ashes. But cornered animals are the most dangerous. Humiliated, the landlord retaliates with ultimate destruction. While the rest of the village is out celebrating a festival, the landlord's thugs creep up to the hut and set it ablaze. It's a devastating, heart-wrenching scene. The flames consume the bamboo. Thankfully, Ramu and Chotu sense something is wrong, rush back from the festival, and manage to save Maya and extinguish the blaze just before it takes the whole structure. But the damage is done. Half of their beloved laughing hut is nothing but black ash.
As they stand before the smoldering ruins of their life, Chotu looks at his mother and delivers a really defining message. He says, "Mother, our hut is half burnt, but our laughter didn't burn." Think about that. Material things can be stolen, they can be broken, they can literally be reduced to ash. But internal wealth, true resilience, and joy, fire cannot touch that. And this brings us to the number 1. Why 1? Because this single moment represents a massive shift. Seeing the burnt hut and hearing Chotu's unwavering courage, the village finally stops acting as a collection of frightened individuals and acts as one single unified entity. They gather around the ashes. One farmer brings fresh bamboo, another brings mud. The women cook food. Together, as one unstoppable force, they begin to rebuild the hut, bigger and stronger than before.
Section 6. The true power of unity.
Now, because the landlord realizes his fear tactics have completely failed, he makes one final fatal mistake. Seeing the village united behind the boy, Bhupan Singh realizes Chotu is the source of their courage. So, in a shocking, desperate assassination attempt, his men actually try to drown Chotu in the village pond during a celebration. But they are not dealing with a victim here. Chotu fights back furiously with a bamboo stick, buying just enough time for Ramu to dive in and rescue him. They drag the thugs to the village square, exposing the landlord's murderous intent for everyone to see. So the crucial point is that this assassination attempt crossed the absolute final line. The village, now fully united, rises up as one. The oppressor is completely dismantled by the very unity he tried to destroy. The village council permanently banishes Bhupan Singh. His massive, silent estate and lands are broken up and distributed among the poor farmers he had terrorized for so long. And that rebuilt, laughing bamboo hut, it stands right in the center of the village, no longer a symbol of poverty, but a monument to their shared pride, courage, and unity.
Which leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. We all face storms, right? We all face external pressures that threaten to break our walls down. But if a fragile bamboo hut can withstand a literal storm, an angry mob, and a devastating fire purely through the power of unwavering optimism and a united community, what internal wealth are you building?
Are you relying on the external walls that can easily be burned down, or are you actively cultivating the kind of resilient spirit and community ties that no fire could ever touch? Definitely something to think about as you weather your own storms. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.